Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're talking the awesome Tamiya TT02. And I've got a bunch of them over here on the bench for you to look at. We've got my 97 mile per hour Tamiya TT02 RR, and we've got my Tamiya TT02B dual ridge. We're going to show you how to go fast, and we're going to show you how to make them strong. So stay tuned, guys. We'll see you in 2 seconds. All right, guys, now that we're nice and tight in here, close up, we're going to take a look at my 97 mile per hour Tamiya TT02. Starting off with bodies, I'll just show you this body first. This is my stock body. It's the Tamiya Reikiri GT, and this body got me 80 miles per hour. It's a little bit flimsy and distorts a little bit at high speed. I did cut the back out to let air escape. You're going to want to do that to prevent the car from going back as air pressure gets in there, parachuting. This body got me 80 miles per hour. Then I did 90 miles per hour with no body, which was pretty cool and insane at the same time. But then I got myself a Porsche body, GT body. It's a Delta Plastik. I'll put a link in the description. It is 2 millimeters thick. It's a lot more rigid, and I cut the back out again. And this body got me 97 miles per hour, so it's a really good body. Now, looking at the rest of the car, might as well start with the heart of it all, the motor. The motor that comes with it is a 540 sized motor. This is a brushless 3650 sized motor, so any 3650 sized motor will fit in here. This is enough to get you to 100 miles per hour. So this is a Surpass Hobby 3650 4-pole 5900 kV motor. Now, for top speed runs, you want more top end. The low end torque doesn't matter as much. So that's why we go with a higher kV motor. This one I have over here is 6900 kV, and you can get up to 7700 kV in a Castle. But this motor right here, 5900 kV, got me 97 miles per hour, and it's relatively cheap. I will put a link in the description for that as well. Let's take a quick peek at the ESCs that I've used. This is the one I used up to 90 miles per hour. It's an OC Day. It's a little bit hard to find, but basically there's different branding on these cheaper Chinese ESCs. Ghoul RC makes them, Surpass Hobby, but they're all virtually the same thing. This is a really good ESC, 120 amp, got me 90 miles per hour. So I started off with that one, and now I'm using a Arma BLX 185. There's a lot of amperage going through this ESC. You don't want it as a bottleneck, because then you don't want it cutting out basically on you or getting too hot. So that's why I decided to go with a 6S ESC, just to eliminate any bottlenecking going on. So I also did put a cap pack. You don't have to do that. You don't want any interruption in power going to your motor when it's drawing a huge amount of voltage and amperage going through the ESC. So that takes care of that. This, you just snip off a little bit of insulation, and then you just solder it in line. That's all it does, and it just stores a little bit of energy in there. So the ESC has a constant, steady supply of power. So that's the power plant, guys. I did put a fan on it. This is an Integy fan. Comes as one piece. That worked quite well for my application. So to start off with the gearing, guys, you can see that my pinion gear is exposed. Now that's because I've put a smaller spur and raised the size of the pinion gear to get more closer to a 1-to-1 ratio for more top end. Now, the stock spur gear is a 70 tooth right there. And not sure what the size of the pinion is, but it's pretty small. I don't know, maybe 15 tooth or 18 tooth, something like that. So we've put a smaller spur and a bigger pinion. Now, because we're doing that, this cover here won't fit on because the pinion is too big. So let's bring this car over and take a closer look at it. So I've gone ahead, I've taken the bolts out here. Let's take the gear cover off and the back differential cover. So basically all I did with this is I used a Dremel tool. I put a cutting wheel on it, and then I just cut it out. And then once I cut it out, it was a little bit rough looking. I took another bit, and then I just kind of sanded away to make it look a little bit neater. So you can see how that goes on. This is what you're going to want to do. You can see the difference in size between the spur gear, between 70 and I think this one is a 49, I believe. I think it's a 49. But you can see the difference in size. It's quite significant. You can see that it's more of a 1-to-1 ratio between the two. So that's like 43 maybe, and this is 49. So that's what you want to do for top end. Now, how do you do that? You want to buy this thing right here. It's called the Tamiya High Speed Gear Set. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to run these gears right here. Now, these gears are Robinson Racing gears. Robinson Racing. You can get these at A-Main Hobbies. I'll put a link in the description. And you can see the difference. You need an adapter to run these, and that's what this adapter is right here. If you weren't running the adapter, the stock gear would go in like this with the bearing and the gear. Of course, this would go on more. It's a tight fit, so I'm not going to put it all the way on. But you would run it like that. See that? There's no adapter. But the only way to get a tiny spur gear on there, which you need to run a big pinion, the only way to do that is with this blue adapter plate. Now, this is a 49 tooth spur. I run a 52 tooth on my 97 mile per hour car. This one is so small, only 2 screws actually fit in, but on the 52 you can fit 4 in. So basically, you get that part, you screw your spur gear on to the adapter, you put it in like that, put your bearing on, then you put your diff pinion in, like so. This is a steel diff pinion. It goes on a little bit tight. But on my 97 mile per hour car, I just have plastic gears, and they're fine for doing speed runs because there isn't a lot of load on the gears themselves. So there you go, guys. That's how you put the spur gear in. I will put the link in the description. Now, another thing that you're going to need is this right here. I'm not going to take it out right now, but this is the Yeah Racing motor mount. It's an adjustable motor mount, sorry. The stock motor mount on a TT02 looks like this. Now, it's indexed, so depending on what size pinion gear you run, you mount the motor correspondingly, and the numbers match up to, in the manual, to whatever pinion you want to run. Well, that's no good for us if we want to put a big pinion gear on, because it goes way beyond what the specs are for pinions. So you need this Yeah Racing adjustable motor mount. I will put the link in the description for this. This is really great because you can adjust whatever gears you want in there. You can see it's almost 1-to-1, the ratio. So if you want to do 100 miles an hour, that's what you have to do. Okay, guys, so that is the spur and pinion. Now moving on. So we've touched on the motor, we've touched on the gearing, and we're going to want to touch on, let's bring the other car back. We're going to want to touch on aluminum parts. These are not absolutely necessary, but they're good to have. Takes a little bit of slop out of the steering. And you don't need an aluminum drive shaft. I like it because it looks cool, but you can get away with just the stock drive shaft if you want. It's nice to have, but not absolutely necessary. Another thing that we want to discuss for speed runs is the rear uprights. See these two red things on the back? I believe the stock kit comes with, well, they're plastic for sure, but it comes with either 1 degree or 0 degree. Now that degree we're talking about is the amount of toe-in that they provide on the back. Now, for high speed, you're going to want toe-in on the back and toe-out on the front. So to achieve that toe-in, you're going to want to buy, those are 2 degrees, but I actually was using 3 degree. So anywhere from 2 to 3 is good. I would go 2.5 degrees, which is what these are right here. There's the part number. I will put it in the description there for you guys. So you're going to want that on the back. That's a must for going fast in a straight line. And tires. Definitely tires. Now, up to about, I don't know, 50 miles an hour, you can run these things. 60 miles an hour. These are the stock Tamiya tires. So what happens is, as the centrifugal force of the tire spinning gets faster and faster, the tire starts to distort. It balloons. So to prevent that ballooning, which is no good for stability, because basically your contact patch becomes from, you know, like this much to like nothing almost. So then you lose control, you wipe out and crash. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a set of foam tires. Tires that I use are Contact brand. Contact foam tires. You can buy them on eBay. These are 26 millimeter. I recommend 26 or 30 millimeter, and you're going to want probably 32 shore to like 35 shore, maybe a little higher, 37 shore. Shore is the density of the foam and the hardness of the foam. Too soft, and you're going to just chew them up, and they're not going to last long. Too hard, and you're not going to have as much traction as you want. And I don't know, it's a little bit of a balance, right? So you're going to want those because these do not balloon. They're glued all the way around. They keep their shape at high speeds, and it'll keep your car going straight and you won't wipe out. Definitely a must. Another thing you want to do is suspension. Yeah, you want it stiff. So basically these are stock shocks, but with Tamiya stiffer springs. So I've got the yellows on the front. It's not absolutely necessary to do it exactly the way I have it here. I bought this on-road tuned hard spring set. Op-1549 540 on-road tuned hard spring set. So you're going to want to get a set of these. Not absolutely necessary to get these. You can even use the stock ones and just stiffen them up with more of these little preload clips. You could do that, but you're going to want it stiff because you don't want the car, the back end, squatting, because then the front end's going to be pointing up, and then you're going to have the car more susceptible to ballooning, or sorry, parachuting and taking off on you. So that's something you definitely don't want. So moving on to batteries. These are the batteries that I'm using. The Spektrum 4S 3200 milliamp hour 100C LiPo smart battery, but I'm not using the smart technology, the telemetry. I just snipped the third wire and I put a Dean's plug on there. That's a great battery. We have the Peak Racing power plant. I did 90 miles per hour in this. This is my 97 mile per hour battery. It's very light, and it's a great battery. These are pretty readily available. This one may be a little bit harder to find. This is a 3S 45C. Did 90 miles per hour in this one. I'm sure the Spektrum I can get over 100 with. So they fit in there nicely. You can see it's a little snug where the balance wire is with this one. That fits in. And the other one fits in good as well. So that's batteries, guys. So we pretty much touched on everything here that I can think of. One other thing I wanted to mention was, I don't think I mentioned the brand of Spur gears. You probably saw it. There's the Spur, there's the pinion. That's a 60 tooth, but for 97 miles per hour, this is the exact combination I used. Robinson Racing. It's a 48 pitch associated / HPI standard touring car spur gear. 48 pitch. There's the part number. I'll put it in the description. And here's the pinion that I'm using. I have one in there right now. 45 tooth, 48 pitch aluminum pinion. So that's 97 miles per hour right there. You could probably play with this pinion a little, maybe drop it down. I may be slightly over geared. You can play with that and see if you can go faster. There are a few other upgrades you can add on, like these low friction suspension balls, which I don't have on here. I've got a lot of play right here in this. So you can put those on, not absolutely necessary. You can put these on in place of the hexes. They're clamp style aluminum wheel hub hexes. If you don't have a TT02 RR like this and you're just running the standard TT02, You can get away with just using the plastic drive shafts. They're like hybrid steel, plastic, glass, hybrid drive shafts. But if you want to upgrade, this is what you need. It's slightly different. These are made to fit into these plastic drive cups. They're plastic and glass. They're very, very stiff and long lasting. So you shouldn't have any problems with these. I didn't ever break one of these. I did break a drive shaft on the dual ridge, but that was on 3S, and that was with, I put bigger tires on it, so there was a lot of stress. But you want universal shafts. These Racing ones are really good. That's for the standard TT02. There's a lot of different upgrades you can do. They're not absolutely necessary if you want to go fast. But moving on now to the dual ridge. Take a quick look at this. This is my son's car. Like I said earlier, I've got the 60 amp ESC with a twig in it. In the fan. But this is a great ESC. It's this one right here. We've abused this car. We've jumped it, backflips, crashed it, and run it on hot summer days on 3S, and haven't had any issues. And I believe this is a 3900 kV motor. One thing I did want to touch on here is this car, the gears are fairly weak. For running on the street as a TT02, even speed runs, these plastic gears are okay. They're glass infused plastic gears. There's a stock differential. These are just plastic gears. So on this car, what we did was we put in a steel spur. This is steel. It's heavy. You don't need the adapter for this. And this is a 66 tooth, I think, or 70 tooth. I think it's a 66 tooth. So we did that. We did a aluminum pinion, and we did the GPM Racing differential steel ring gear and bevel gear. It's a complete differential. We left the stock on the front. It's been fine. The back, actually, when I put it on 3S, it was okay for a while. As soon as I put some big tires on it, it just busted the gear. So that's what it's got in there now. If you want to make it bulletproof, grab these parts. So one other quick thing I want to touch on with the TT02 is the chassis. It's a great chassis. The chassis is the same on the Buggy as well as the street car, the regular TT02. It's quite rigid. There's a lot of bracing in here, but one weak spot that I want to touch on is where the steering sits on, the steering posts. That is a bit of a weak spot. So what happens is you can see the plastic shatters there, and then your steering post will no longer sit in properly. So quick fix, get some 5-minute epoxy, fill it up with epoxy, and once it all sets, just drill it out with a thin drill bit, and then you can go ahead and put some screws in right through into this, or put a long screw in there and a nut if you're using the standard steering. So that's it, guys. That is the Tamiya TT02. There's my 97 mile per hour car. And I hope I've helped you guys out a little bit here. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments. Any comments or questions, I'll be glad to try and help you out. All right, guys, thanks for sticking with me if you're still here. The Tamiya TT02 is a great car. There was a lot to go through with this car, and I wanted to pass that information on to you guys to help you guys any way I can. It's a great car. There's a great aftermarket for it. It can drift, it can bash, it can do 100 miles an hour and then some. So grab yourself one today. You won't be disappointed. I just wanted to say a big thank you to all my subscribers, and if you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so if you like this video, or if you like bashing or speed running. I do all kinds of videos. So thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one, guys. Take care.